Greetings, my fellow explorers. Rhadamant here. Thank you for tuning in to Synergy. Episode 4, Seeking the Mesa. So here's an instance where, the analysis of the cabbage shrub removed it from the picking priority, or perhaps the cabbage shrubs have spread and I need to reissue the picking order to include the new cabbage shrubs that weren't originally included. The explorers kneel to weigh some bluish dust that are settled around about a mile around. It is lighter than sand and has a metallic smell. Breathing it makes them suddenly feel cold. Some conclude this sand contains ice energy granules that can be melted down to obtain water, but others are hesitant about disturbing the dust before understanding where it comes from. They want to study its size, shape, and environmental context. So we can collect some plant materials or analyze the substance. Oh man, you are all about the snorting the dust. Got it. Alright, there is going to be a follow-up option. So, the dust particles fly about, carried by the wind before settling. Grimacing at the wind, the party follows the trail to its source. Suddenly, their path becomes blocked by a skeletal hexapod structure. The body is composed of 3 poles linked together by a central unit. A small cooling chamber located at the top of the collapsed body is closed with keratin strands and marked with pictograms. It would be wise to try and understand the message before opening the chamber. We can 1. Try to translate the writing. 2. Leave, or 3. Open the device. This option is locked because we don't have the required knowledge for it. Alright, we are dice rolling here, trying to translate. With no linguistic expert, the party expresses various interpretations but reaches no consensus. So they then face 2 options: risk opening the room or leave. So we can 1. Get the tablet, 2. Leave, or 3. Open the pod. So the pod is a bit of the random result. Tablets are the information, or we could just straight up leave. And it looks like we're going with tablet. Gaining a tablet from an excursion is a pretty good reward. Just to put that in context. Tablets are very useful. Alright. Our forge is running low on boreal rock. How much bark do I have? 5? Ooh, ouch. So if I wanted more bark, we could pick it from the cinder sprouts. But I don't have a picker's cabin all that close to the cinder sprouts. The other thing that we could do is maybe cut down some of these hatted... Oh, that's for tree trunks. These hatted trees are basically dead. I'm going to cut them down anyway, because they're obviously in an environment that is not thriving. If it's ended by leaving, can it be restarted later? That depends on the excursion. Some can, not all. Alright, we got advanced harvest methods unlocked, and next we're going to go with healthcare. So the advanced harvest methods allow us to build a well for water extraction, and I'll get a well built on this water hole. And this well takes 10 tools to build. And I believe it is the only water hole here. So the expedition just returned, and the reward I get for this is a tablet, which I'll show you in just a second. So in the research tree, the tablet's in the bottom left, and I can decipher them. And this tablet has special knowledge to be able to make tools more efficiently. Not bad. So the picker's cabin, I'm also going to queue them up to collect barks. So what would be ideal here is if I set up like a bit of a road network so that they can collect the bark quicker. So although it's a little ugly to like pave over everything, it's going to speed them up a lot. The explorers discover a dozen small courtyards made of stone and set close to one another. At the center of these courtyards, there are two symmetrical cylinders lying diagonally. When one of the explorers triggers a slab in one of the courtyards, the left cylinder starts to hissing steam up towards the sky, while the right cylinder projects some light into the steam. Water droplets are used as a screen for a projected image showing a rampart in ruins overlooked by massive towers. So choice. I can analyze the images for culture. So what culture is, a lot of the research that you can unlock is locked from a cultural minimum. So it might be like, in order to get like a museum or a school or something like that, you will need a certain bare minimum level of culture to get it. And one way to obtain the culture is through expeditions like this one. You can also obtain culture by building buildings to supply culture in districts, cultural districts. So I can either gain 20 culture, I can dice roll, or condense the steam. So basically, the bottom two options are to gain clean water, and the top option is to gain culture. And you guys want me to gain culture. Much to the party's disappointment, it turns out that the projected city was never built. Projectors only contain the memory of an ambition, a city that would transform with its inhabitants' natural desires, instead of creating and structuring said desires. The blueprints are still worth seeing, and the explorers copy the plans and ideals behind the projects in their notebooks. Then we can continue to either try to dry some water or condense the steam. So condensing the steam is something that we have knowledge of because of our advanced harvest methods. And that's what you guys want. Got it? So, the cylinders allowing the projectors to create the screen are covered in condensation, which, if delicately treated, can be collected. Due to its origin, the resulting water is particularly rich in minerals. So we gained 2 technological artifacts, 20 culture, and 60 water. It's a very nice result. So culture is up here. You can gain culture from other sources and houses. And here's our well. So every 12 days it produces 30 clean water by underground water drawing. Healthcare research is nearly done. So I'm going to have you guys pick what's next. So here are the choices. Hall of Wisdom, improvements to the picking hut, arboriculture, market square, or pharma. The pharmacological factory to be able to make medicines. Yusuf, thank you for the resub. Welcome. I hope you're enjoying this game, this stream. Now, to put my thumb on the scale a little bit, at least for the future, one of the things that is restricting population growth is the fact that I don't have a district to be able to supply like a decent amount of well-being and social to my my people. And that is locked behind getting Market Square and Hall of Wisdom. Without those two things, population growth is a bit stunted. Just an FYI. So it looks like you guys want Pharmacological Factory. It's fine. And then that leads to this. Yeah, that leads to a bunch of options that I won't be able to unlock for a bit. So it doesn't fork out to anything extra. So the infirmary here provides well-being to citizens within the area. And then if anyone gets sick or wounded, you can use remedies to cure them, depending on what caused them to become ill in the first place. And we now have 20 culture from that expedition. All right, I'm going to go to the last spot here. Well, actually, I am going to go to the lake shores, because that will trigger the drive for renewal, because it will be exploring a new area. Might as well get that finally. I'm moving people out of the forge and into this picker's cabin, because this picker's cabin picks for bark, which will allow me to set up additional picker's cabins for trimming so that I can trim the petrified giants for stone. Because I am essentially out of stone, and the emanations that I have on my map tile are not giving me any extra stone. Now, another thing that I could do in this situation, given that I'm out of stone, is build houses, essentially tear down the houses that I've already built, and replace them with stone houses made of also tree trunks. Because the tree trunk houses, I have a bunch of tree trunks on hand. So I'm gonna do that. Break 2 houses down to be able to make 4 houses. Because these houses, you gain 100% of the resources back. These houses are made of 20 stone, and these houses are made of 10 stone and 4 tree trunks. And I've got plenty of tree trunks. Also worth noting, next season is a dry season. So making sure that we have plenty of water stockpiled. We consume 80 per cycle, so I have enough water for 2 cycles, which would last us the entire dry season. So we should be fine on that front. But after putting my thumb on the scale, as you've seen, I have not gained any natural children because we don't have decent enough social and culture and everything for pop growth. Pockets of life. The explorers aren't hoping for much. How many ponds seen from afar have actually been mirages? For once, though, the long journey leads to a region full of lakes. Of course, the water is mostly toxic, but our supplies could use a new source. Besides, where there is water, there are often humans. Also, the surroundings around the lakes are quite green, and we should collect some plant matter from them. So, I can collect water or soft fibers. Soft fibers are used for protective clothing in the lake later on. Navigating through the lake is not an option because we don't have advanced exploration techniques. Alright, plant materials it is. And now that we've gone to the lakes region, as you can see, a bunch of points of interest are now revealed there. 2 camps that are like based upon, that are main questline camps, and then 4 other locations that we can return to. Our outpost is now a solid base, and we are ready to start our anthropological mission. Our next task is to investigate what brought us here, the Chanceldani Mesa, one of the most ancient villages in the region, seems to have developed into quite the city. Now, that could be somewhat exaggerated, but we have to find that city, take a census of its population, and offer them friendship if they so wish. We have spotted an observation tower nearby, which is one of the only obvious signs of any urban agglomeration in the vicinity. It will therefore be an ideal place to start our research. Send an expedition to the observation tower. Which is... this. We don't have to necessarily rush to that, so I'm going to have you guys choose. So there's the options. Should we go to the main quest next, or to resources and resource gain? We finally have enough bark for a picker's cabin so that I can make use of the petrified giants. So I'm going to set up 2 such cabins. Because stone is a dwindling and precious resource. Oh, you know what? I have this picker's cabin. Oh, this is the explorer's hut. Never mind. Oh, there's another well here. I totally didn't see that. So let's tap that as well. I need stone for that. Well, good. I'm working on that. It looks like you guys want the main quest next. So I will consider that once we go back out. I don't have enough citizens at the moment to send out an exploration team because we have a lot of construction projects queued. So I'm going to wait until some of the construction projects are done so we can make some progress. Do I still need water carriers? I don't have dedicated water carriers. The assignment tower here is general carriers, not water carriers specifically, if that's what you were wondering. So we have lots of watery pods and vegetables. That's no problem at all. We have a good amount of water and meals. So we just need to work on stone, which is why I have these picker cabins being built. And that should help with our stone. It's not going to resolve it, because there's not tons of petrified giants to trim. But it's better than nothing. So trimming... petrified giants. Put one person working in there. And then as I get a little bit more stone, what we'll be able to do is to change our houses from stone-based to stone and tree trunk-based. The pharmacological factory just got researched, so I'm going to pick the next research, which is Hall of Wisdom. I still don't have enough free citizens to send out for an expedition, because we have so many construction projects. So this picker cabin will, here, you can see, it trims the petrified giant for a little bit of stone. It's not a lot of stone, but it's a trickle. It's better than nothing for sure. So you can see them working here. And then Orsa brings those 2 boreal rocks to the picker cabin, which will allow me to build the well and the other houses. Hopefully. Alright, this observation tower will help us find populations in the area, and we're out. Are you asking about purifiers? So I have a pontoon that collects toxic water, and I actually do have a pretty good amount of toxic water already collected. And then we purify the water at the purification basins. I think at this time it still makes sense to keep everyone that is employed in there still employed, because you don't want a sudden dip in your water supply, because dehydrating to death is an awful way to go. So the picker cabin that was originally trimming the cinders up there, I'm going to switch over. I'm going to remove them from that queue and instead have another picker cabin in the area that is sole job is to trim that so that there's less travel time. Although the observation tower is in poor condition, a column of smoke indicates it isn't abandoned. Inside, a family of travelers, ranging in age from very young to very old, are sharing a rather meager soup. The oldest woman says that they left the Chancellanzi Mesa because it had become impossible to live there. The majority of its inhabitants have actually quit their jobs and locked themselves up in their homes. Noting the information, the explorers get ready to leave. Just then, the family asks them if they want to trade some stone for food. So, some choices here. We can convince them to leave for our city. We can trade simple dishes for clean water. Simple dishes and clean water for stone. Or we can just leave. Alright. The explorers are able to reason with the family. The whole camp joins them, relieved to have some solution to their condition. 5 citizens will join the city, including 2 children. The testimony of the exiles from the observation tower shatters all our hopes. It seems that the Mesa is in desperate situation. The only citizens not to have fallen victim to general stupor are currently fleeing the town. Before establishing a long-term report on the situation, we need to check on the city's inhabitants. If they're actually really abandoning their tasks and daily needs, they might have health issues. Let's prepare a convoy of remedies large enough to supply them. Because we're about to get people moving into our town, I am going to free up some workers to be able to build houses so that we don't have a homelessness crisis. These two picker cabins have trimmed all of the petrified giants around them, so I can fire them for now and have them as builders. And we're getting the stone homes constructed as quick as we can. And there's a second well. I'm also turning off the forge. We have 60 tools at the moment, and I'd rather use the stone that was in the forge for constructing houses instead of constructing tools, because we need to be able to house our people more than have extra tools. And by changing the recipe here, it won't stockpile. My head's kind of in the way, but it won't stockpile those resources. So down here, this is what's currently in the inventory for production. It's kind of hard to see where my mouse is, but here. And then this is the stuff yet to be hauled. All right, the exploration team should be back in just a minute. And I can also build the pharma factory. But before I do that, I want to make sure that everyone has homes. So there we go. Now everyone does have a home, which is good. So here is the pharmacological factory, which produces medicines from mushrooms and kernels, or soft fibers and resin, or seeds and resin, depending on the recipe. And it also requires more boreal rock to construct. So boreal rock is becoming a bit of a bottleneck, which is why I want to break down the old homes and incorporate tree trunks into the construction so that we can free up rock that we used to initially build the houses that we live in. Also, one of the recipes for medicine requires ashy kernels. So instead of getting bark from these cinder sprouts, I'm going to get the ashy kernels so that we can make medicine out of it. Civil engineering for the Hall of Wisdom is done, and I am going to work on the market square next. I want to build the Hall of Wisdom eventually, but right now I have other construction projects that are a little bit more expensive. The Hall of Wisdom does cost a bunch of stone and bark that I don't have freed up at the moment. The area is overrun with reeds growing in such different shapes from each other that the untrained eye would consider them different species. One bunch looks like a straw puppet, another like winged creatures, while another is bent in on itself as if it was some kind of fiber reel. As they are taking a closer look, the explorers meet a barely conscious woman whose arthritic hands are gripping an empty flask. She says she is looking for the body of her brother, who was drowned in an area a dozen or so years ago. Choice. We can search for the brother on foot, where we get rotten resources, toxic water, and mushrooms. We can give some water to the arthritic, barely conscious woman, or convince them to leave for the city. So what do you guys think? And because we don't have enough branches, we can't just build a raft. Alright, looks like we're giving some water this time. Without proper gear, finding the body in such a dense, difficult to navigate place would be nigh impossible. However, the explorers take the afternoon to care for the grieving woman, encouraging her to drink water despite her aversion to it and her feelings of nausea, both symptoms of dehydration. The grieving sister seems to have some newfound energy, but insists on pursuing her search. She places some reward into the explorer's arms, who have no choice but to let her go. We gain 1 tablet. Well, a little water for a tablet's not a terrible trade. There's a bunch of dead or dying hatted trees to the north, and I'm going to cut those down for tree trunks so that we can build different types of houses. A picker's cabin for fruit and vegetables. I'm going to put a pause on for now because we just have so much of it. We don't need much more at the moment. All right. I'm going to send this team out to a strange glow. And the tablet we got gives us a way to synthesize water through fungal oxidation. A new technological research option. Why aren't you guys building the stone house? There we go. Took a while. The acrid smell alerts the explorers. Equipped with respirators, they approach a strange light. Once they enter its glow, they see transparent images of an unknown city all around them. Its numerous dwellings rise high up to the sky, and its ghostly inhabitants are walking noiselessly around the explorers without noticing them. An open-cast mine with an ever-rotating machine lies at the far end of this spectral place. We can communicate with the inhabitants, we can study the device, or explore the open cast mine. The ever-rotating machine is absorbing fine sand through a frontal chamber. Due to some mysterious process the explorers can't work out, energy fuels the tower at the top of the machine and projects a complex ray of light in all directions, which can very well be the source of the city's projected images. We can either take the mechanism or collect some sand and stone. Taking the mechanism. Alright, we gained 2 technological artifacts. Spooky. Phasing out the old style houses for the new ones. Still. And the pharma factory is almost done being built. So, we need to make 10 more purifying remedies and 10 more cooling balm. Purifying remedies is ashy kernels and mushrooms, which we've been collecting. And the cooling balm is seeds and resin, which we do not have. The cooling balm will take a little bit more time. Let's send our people out to this camp. And the dry season is almost upon us. The almanac. Smoke rises from the windows of a soot-black cabin. Inside, the explorers discover a technician fighting a very noisy machine that snaps and creaks at regular intervals. After a while, the technician gives up. She says the machine is a press, and that she's hoping to print a survival almanac for nearby villages. She wants to teach other people how to find underground springs or distinguish toxic mushrooms from those that filter water. Now she needs some paper to print her almanac, some resin for the ink, as well as necessary tools to repair the machine's fan. I can either give some soft fibers as paper, or just leave and not help her with the almanac. Team Almanac, got it. After soaking and filtering the fibers, the technician leaves them to dry to form sheets of paper. The almanac is coming to life. So this is an exploration that is multi-phased. However, I don't have... it mentioned like resin for ink and the like, and I don't have resin. And resin is also needed for the cooling balms. So for us to gain resin, I'm going to need to figure out how to source it from the plant life around here. Ripping out the riverbank fingers does yield seeds, but it is not a renewable source of seeds, as it would kill the riverbank fingers. And I'm not sure there is a renewable source of seeds that we know of yet. So we might need to make some additional progress through arboriculture. So that will be my next research. So instead of returning to this camp that I don't have the materials for, I'm going to go elsewhere. To this stream to the north. So during the dry season, if you're wondering, the production basins and pontoons work less efficiently. So it's harder to gain water from them. And then the wells completely stop, as you can see. So the dry seasons, if you're relying upon production efficiency for clean water, the dry seasons will kill you if you don't have water stockpiled. Thank you for tuning in to Synergy, which originally streamed live on Twitch June 18th. If you have any feedback or questions for me, let me know in the comments below. If you'd like to catch a live stream of mine, Rhadamant.com has my stream schedule and countdown timers to upcoming streams. If you would like to join my online gaming community on Discord, Rhadamant.com has linked to it, as does the description of this video. Thank you so very much for watching, and a special thank you to my Patreon patrons, Twitch subscribers, and viewers like you that support the channel and made it all the way to the credits. Thank you so very much. I hope to catch you next episode or an upcoming stream. Farewell, my fellow city survivors.